5 most expensive cities in the world 2025. Did you know that one country spends nearly 8% of its GDP on education, creating a generation of innovators and leaders? Or that another nation has redefined learning by integrating cutting-edge AI into classrooms? The education landscape is changing faster than ever, and these countries are leading the charge. Education is the cornerstone of progress, but not all systems are created equal. Some countries have risen to the top, setting global benchmarks for academic excellence, equity, and innovation. In this video, we'll delve into the 10 countries with the best education systems in 2025. Each of these countries has something unique to offer, whether it's Finland's personalized teaching methods, Singapore's rigorous academic standards, or unexpected nations making remarkable strides. Section 1. The hidden costs of New York City, the world's financial heartbeat. Ever wondered how a city, where the average apartment can cost as much as an entire house in some countries, stays afloat? Welcome to New York, where luxury and expense meet in a perfect storm. Historical context. New York's reputation as a global financial, cultural, and political center drives demand for high-end real estate and goods. The city is not just a place to live. It's the beating heart of a global economy. Its skyline is dotted with landmarks that symbolize its enduring wealth. However, these factors make it one of the most expensive places to live, as demand far outstrips supply. Real estate market. The cost of real estate is a cornerstone of New York's high living expenses. With prime real estate around Manhattan reaching exorbitant prices, the cost of buying or renting has surged over the decades. The demand for real estate in the city, driven by both domestic and international interest, has led to an inflationary spiral. In neighborhoods like Tribeca and Soho, rents can reach up to $10,000 or more for a one-bedroom apartment. Cost of services. Even non-housing expenses are steep, with everything from dining to healthcare being priced higher due to the demand for exclusive services and high wages. For instance, the average cost of dining in Midtown Manhattan can range from $20 for a basic meal to hundreds for a fine dining experience. Additionally, utilities and transportation are pricey, reflecting the city's elevated operational costs. Emotional and social impact. New York may be a dream for many, but it can be a nightmare for those who don't make six figures. Many locals, especially younger generations, are forced into shared living conditions or settle in outer boroughs with a long commute, far from the city's pulse. But for those who thrive on the vibrancy of New York, these sacrifices are part of the price of being part of the world's greatest city. Real-life example. Consider the story of Sarah, a recent college graduate with a job at a high-end tech firm in Brooklyn. She shares a tiny apartment with 3 roommates, balancing her dream career with the challenge of surviving in a city that demands so much. As we can see, New York's financial dominance is not just about high salaries. It's about an economy that thrives on extremes, pushing the cost of living into uncharted territories. But in a city like New York, this might just be the price of success. Is the cost worth the opportunity? Section 2. The opulence of Hong Kong, where land is scarce and prices soar. What's the cost of living in a city with one of the densest populations on the planet? In Hong Kong, it's not just about space, but about who can afford to occupy it. Geographic constraints. Hong Kong, one of the world's most densely populated cities, is built on a small landmass surrounded by the South China Sea. With limited available land and growing demand for both residential and commercial real estate, property prices have skyrocketed. The scarcity of land creates a constant pressure on housing, driving up rents and home prices to unprecedented levels. Government influence. The Hong Kong government's land policies have historically contributed to price inflation. The land lease system and restrictions on the supply of new properties have limited development in key areas, particularly for affordable housing. High land costs are passed on to residents and businesses. Economic impact. Hong Kong's role as a global financial center means demand for office space remains high. Landlords and investors seeking high returns on investments continue to push rents up, creating an environment where only the wealthy can afford to live and work in the heart of the city. Cultural implications. The financial gap between the ultra-wealthy and the struggling middle class has created a growing divide in the city. While luxury apartments in the central district can cost millions of dollars, many residents face living in cramped, coffin homes or subdivided flats. Real-life example. Take the case of Ken, a successful banker in his early 30s, who works long hours and lives in a tiny apartment in a less desirable neighborhood. Despite his high salary, the cost of living forces him to maintain an austere lifestyle outside of work. The soaring costs in Hong Kong might seem unsustainable, but for a city at the crossroads of East and West, the high price of living is the cost of progress. This island city has long been a symbol of economic dynamism, and its steep costs are a reflection of the global competition for space and influence. What price do we pay for such success? Section 3. Paris, the price of romance and culture. Can you really put a price on romance? In Paris, even the Eiffel Tower's view comes with a hefty price tag. Tourism and cultural significance. Paris's global status as a center for art, history, and culture drives not only tourism but also an insatiable demand for its housing market. The presence of iconic landmarks like the Louvre and the Eiffel Tower makes the city not only attractive for living but also for investment. Paris has long been a desirable location for the ultra-wealthy, artists, and entrepreneurs alike. Real estate prices. Due to the limited space within the city and its historical zoning laws, real estate prices in central Paris have surged, particularly in the most desirable districts like the 1st, 2nd, and 7th arrondissements. Many locals, especially younger individuals or families, have been priced out of these areas, leading to an increase in suburban living. Cost of services. The cost of services in Paris can also be quite high. Gourmet food, fine wine, and luxury shopping can quickly inflate an everyday budget. But what truly elevates the cost of living is the city's overall aura of luxury and exclusivity. Fine dining establishments often serve meals for hundreds of euros, while public services like transportation and healthcare remain relatively high cost compared to other European cities. Social impact. The expensive lifestyle in Paris creates a divide between those who can afford to indulge in the luxury of the city and those who struggle to make ends meet. The gentrification of many once bohemian neighborhoods has led to displacement and a loss of cultural authenticity. Real-life example. Marie, a 40-year-old freelance artist, has always dreamed of living in Paris. However, the reality of skyrocketing rental prices forces her to live on the outskirts of the city. Yet, she clings to her artistic ambitions and the belief that the city's cultural heartbeat will still be worth the financial sacrifices. Paris may be the city of love, but it's also the city of luxury, where the price of romance is measured not just in time, but in euros. But for those lucky enough to call it home, the expense is often worth the memories. Does the magic of Paris come with a price tag too high for some to afford? 4. London, the high cost of legacy and power. In a city steeped in history and political influence, the cost of living doesn't just reflect economic growth, it reflects legacy. But what happens when only the wealthy can afford to be part of it? Historical legacy. London's status as a major world capital has been centuries in the making. The city's role in finance, politics, and culture has created a steady demand for living space. The presence of historical landmarks and world-renowned institutions means that space in central London is in high demand. Inflation and real estate. The housing market in London has seen massive inflation, particularly in areas like Mayfair, Kensington, and Chelsea. However, this trend extends throughout the entire city, with rents and housing prices regularly reaching new highs. Despite attempts by the government to regulate housing and rent prices, the affordability crisis continues to worsen. Social divide. The high cost of living in London has led to gentrification, where affluent individuals move into once working-class neighborhoods, pushing out lower-income residents. The divide is particularly stark in the East End, where property prices have risen sharply in recent years. Cost of services. As with other major cities, the cost of living in London extends to everyday services, such as food, transportation, and utilities. The premium for living in London can be felt by locals, who must budget carefully to balance high rent with daily expenses. Real-life example. Meet James, a 50-year-old teacher in London. He loves the city's cultural vibrancy, but is beginning to feel the financial strain as the cost of living keeps climbing. Despite a decent salary, he finds himself sacrificing personal comforts and moving further out to maintain his lifestyle. London's soaring costs reflect its global stature, but at what cost to those who can no longer afford to live within its iconic streets? The struggle to live in one of the world's oldest and most influential cities is a modern-day battle for survival in the face of tradition and power. How much longer will London's Commonwealth be just for the wealthy? Question 5. Zurich, the secret to Switzerland's luxury living. What makes Zurich one of the most expensive cities in the world? The answer lies not just in the city's wealth, but in its unique balance of quality of life and prosperity. Swiss wealth and financial dominance. Zurich is a global banking hub, and its prominence in the financial world directly contributes to the high cost of living. The banking sector attracts professionals with high salaries, which fuels demand for luxury services and real estate. Standard of living. Zurich is consistently ranked as one of the cities with the highest quality of life in the world. This reputation has made it a desirable location for high-net-worth individuals who prioritize excellent healthcare, safety, and public services. However, these benefits come with a price, and the cost of living in Zurich is significantly higher than in other Swiss cities. Social and environmental factors. The Swiss commitment to sustainability and environmental conservation adds an extra layer of cost to Zurich's appeal. Government initiatives to preserve the environment and ensure high living standards often come with financial demands, contributing to the city's overall expensive reputation. Real-life example. Max, a Zurich native working in the tech sector, enjoys a high income and can afford a luxury lifestyle. Yet, the pressure to maintain his standard of living is ever present, as every aspect of his life, from his housing to his private healthcare plan, carries a hefty price tag. Zurich's high cost of living isn't just a reflection of wealth, it's about the lifestyle that wealth allows. For many, it's the price of perfection, a city where everything is designed to meet the highest standards. But does living the Swiss dream come at too high a cost? In this video, we've taken a deep dive into the 5 most expensive cities in the world in 2025: New York, Hong Kong, Paris, London, and Zurich. Each of these cities stands as a testament to wealth, culture, and global influence. From the ultra-high property prices in New York to the scarcity-driven costs in Hong Kong, and from Paris's luxury lifestyle to London's legacy-driven expenses, we've seen that these cities aren't just about high costs. They're reflections of the forces shaping our modern world. Zurich stands out with its perfect blend of wealth and quality of life, creating a place where even the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Which of these cities do you think has the highest cost of living relative to its lifestyle? Or, if you've experienced living in any of these cities, how did the cost of living impact your day-to-day life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The cities we've explored today remind us that the price of living in the world's most iconic locations is not just financial. It's a reflection of the opportunities, culture, and history that define them. As the world continues to evolve, so too will the cost of living in these global hubs. What does this mean for the future of urban life? Only time will tell. If you found this video insightful and learned something new, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to stay updated with more content like this. We've got plenty more to share that will help you navigate the world of expensive